Chat with Glendora, a show for living right. A chat with Glendora makes your day so bright. Words of inspiration, jokes to make you smile. Come relax and chat with Glendora for a while.
Folks, how are you this morning? My goodness, folks, the first month of the year 2021 is within 2 days of being done. Aren't we terrible users of time and resources? No, it's a perfect world. You have to keep remembering, it's a perfect world. It's a perfect world. We look at it wrong. We're looking at it wrong. It's a perfect world. It's a perfect world. Yes, we are consumers of time. Awful time. What do we have? We have the spin of the earth, 24 hours, day and night. Look at the heat we consume. Look at the light we consume. Look at the time we consume. We just talked about that. And look at the temperature we consume. Look at the energy it takes to keep our temperature up where we like it. Somewhere between 50 and 80. 50 and 80 degrees is about where we like it. Maybe 50 is too low. 60 and 80? 70 and 80? Mine is 70 and 80. Yes, we are prodigious consumers of time and energy. Do you thank the sun for making helium out of hydrogen with a lot of heat and light left over? And that's really, I think, about what, 90% of our energy? Isn't that 90% of our energy comes from our sun? And it's going to be there for millions of years, or is it billions of years? Anyway, we love you, sun. We love you, God. We love you, one another. What program are we on? What number? 13,000 something. I would say start this new series at 13,301. We probably are behind in the count 50 or so, but let it go. It's better to have the error in your favor than it is in ours. In other words, if we counted less than we have, that's good. But it's not good to count more than we have. So all right, 13,301. January 29th, 2021, Friday. In the courtroom, the judge asked the defendant, "Why did you park there?" And the defendant said, "There was a sign that said fine for parking." Gary is coming today, and he does the voicemail, and he writes down the new telephone numbers. New telephone numbers coming in so fast, folks. We're just running out of space to file them. And then we went through the 9 pages of new telephone numbers, and we marked the ones that we wouldn't call every day. So today we're going to go back and call the ones that we would call like every week. You must be sure to call the ones who really need a call. They may not be around. And Google can't call them if they aren't on the earth. Gary's coming today, as I told you, and then Esther is coming, and Esther is going to be the power of attorney and assign a $50 check for Corrine, a Christian Scientist practitioner, and a $100 check for Grady Hearn, who just, well, actually is not for anything. But I just want to make sure he's paid. He's been paid $200 for 4 jobs, and this next $100 would be for jobs 5 and 6. And $165 for that $530 National Grid electric bill, and that'll clean that one up. And then $250 to Albany Med. I have to pay $1,750, so that would be 246. That would bring it down to $1,100. And I still haven't heard for Dr. McKenna, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Albany Med, that I have to even pay that bill. Now, another thing that bothers Glennie, you stop that. Nothing should bother you. This is a perfect universe. Oh, okay, well then would you answer this question? In order to get a helper from Rensselaer County Social Services to come and help me read and telephone and clean the bathroom and wash the floors and keep the kitchen clean, and to do the U.S. mail, and to do the filing, and to do the writing letters and writing checks and things like that. It's all desk work, really. I have to have a general practitioner doctor. Why? And I know a doctor who's a specialist, but they won't let a specialist do it. Okay, so I've been forced into an appointment on February the 9th at 2 p.m. in Albany. A very painful ride, a very painful getting dressed up, getting into a wheelchair, getting into a car, getting out of the car, getting into the building, getting up to the floor, and taking all my clothes off and probably getting a cold. And that will be the end, by the way. That's how people my age leave you. They get a cold. An examination that I'm uncomfortable with. But guess what? I said, well, is this free? And they said, well, no. Well, I said, how much is it? $400, $500, $600. What a racket. Yeah, the whole thing is totally dishonest. I would rather wait for Christian Science healing. I would rather wait for Christian Science healing. We read one thing in We Knew Mary Baker Eddy. That's the name of the book, We Knew Mary Baker Eddy. And this one is by a woman named Baker, Mrs. Baker. And she talks about how they changed the prices back in the early years, around 1900. And Mary Baker put the price up to $1 a day. And somebody made the comment that, and they're talking about that day, 1900, that a physician got $500 to amputate a leg. How much did a Christian Science get for healing it? I had a good talk with 2 Christian Scientists yesterday. That would be Jenny Sawyer and Mary Alice Ross. I love talking to them. They are so upbeat and so positive and so strong and so confident and so happy. And then another Christian Scientist went to the Pittsfield TV station and went to Matt Tucker to bring over the tapes, the programs of mine that have been played. And she brought it all the way over from Pittsfield to Nassau County, to Nassau Village. It's not that far, Glendora. It's about 40 minutes. Wasn't that sweet of her? And we gave her a spring roll, a light Chinese spring roll. There's vegetarian. And Darlene was sweet enough to bring those to us. And she brought 3 for Phil and 3 for herself. And and then she brought me those cruller donuts that Franklin likes. They're made in Vermont. And you know what a cruller donut is? It's a long donut. You fold it this way and you fold it that way. It's delicious. Much better taste. And Dunkin' Donuts has stopped making them. So we found them again. These are made in Vermont. They're called a coffee cup, spelled with K's. So thank you, Corrine, for bringing those all the way over. She's such a good person and a Christian Scientist. We have a to-do list that's a whole page long and continued on the back. Esther says that she will buy another CD player since the one we just bought from Walmart.com doesn't work. Or maybe it's Glendora who doesn't work, or Sandy, we can't get it to work. Esther said that she would do the grocery shopping, although we spent $20 on groceries yesterday. All of our Madeline's kitty cats are fine. And I really believe it was the huge amount of love that Aunt Madeline and I poured into those 3 kitty cats. I really think that had healed them of their sicknesses. And the vet, for one of them, charged $1,000. I don't know how much for the other 2. I bought some groceries a long time ago at the supermarket, and it was quite a lot. There was 4 or 5 bags full. And I asked the checkout clerk, is there somebody who could take these out to the car for me? And she looked at a man standing nearby and said, and he came over and he took them to the car, and I wanted to tip him. And he says, no, I can't take a tip, I'm a manager. One woman was complaining that she spent $350 in groceries. And she said, and that was in the fast checkout line. Dear, can't we move into a more expensive apartment? And he said, you won't have to. The owner's raising the rent on this one. I was told that a 30-second commercial on the Super Bowl this year is costing $5.6 million. And locally I heard that it's costing about $55,000. You want to buy one? What was I telling you folks when the telephone rang? Did I tell you about the woman who was checking out at the supermarket and a man behind her in the next in line spoke to her very cordially, a gentlemanly way, and she looked puzzled, and he says, don't you remember who I am? She says, I'm your daughter's gym teacher. And she says, oh, I didn't recognize you with all your clothes on. Victoria is coming with all of her pep and energy and joy and goodwill and laughter, and she's bringing Shay Dog with her. I've known Shay Dog since 2009, I think. I've known Shay Dog for a long time. I guess it's 9 o'clock now, folks. It's time to call up and get your Bible lesson, your hymn, your word, and your jokes from Wayne Collins. times, Wayne. I'd love to hear that, this week's Bible passage.
Okay, you want me to repeat it 3 times?
Would you?
Yes?
You're so nice. You're so good-natured. Go ahead.
And let the peace of God rule in your hearts, to the which also ye are called in one body, and be ye thankful. Colossians 3:15. And let the peace of God rule in your hearts, to the which also ye are called in one body, and be ye thankful. Colossians 3:15. And let the peace of God rule in your hearts, to the which also ye are called in one body, and be ye thankful. Colossians 3:15.
Good. With God we go to spread the joy of life. We win each day the happiness of love. We count our blessings, we give thanks, we give joy. Stop, stop, stop the cruel. Oh, stop, stop, stop the cruel. And we'll go off camera now, Wayne, and you'll find us a nice new word for today
Okay.
to expand our weak vocabularies.
All right.
Okie dokie, Wayne.
All right. Today's word is alternating current, an electric current that reverses its direction regularly and continually.
Folks, I never understand that. I will never understand that. But it's a wonder of God. It's a great creation of God. Then, Wayne, what were yesterday's words we were working on? Alternate.
Yes, alternate, succeeding each other, one and then the other, every other. And then we had alternative. An alternative is a choice between 2 or more things, any of one of the things to be chosen.
Very, very good. Somehow that reminds me of Yogi Berra, the Yankee pitcher, and he said to his men, I want you guys to pair up in 3s. All right. I'm going to wait for you to find us 5 funny jokes.
5 jokes for today.
Yep.
Okay, we always have some good jokes with Glendora. And today's jokes, hometown.
Oh, a hometown?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I live in a typical hometown, folks. It's a typical village. It's 2 gas stations, a general store, and a speed trap.
Knights of Columbus Masons.
The town is so small, the village is so small that the Masons and the Knights of Columbus formed a coalition, Wayne, and they called it the Masonites.
Last year, Maryland was depressed and miserable.
Yeah, Marilyn says, last year I was depressed and miserable, but this year I turned that completely around. This year I'm miserable and depressed.
Walks paycheck.
Why do you always walk your paycheck to the bank? It's too small to go by itself.
X-ray machine and flu.
Oh, folks, what's the difference between a Xerox machine and the flu? A Xerox machine makes copies, and the flu makes sick families.
And there you have your 5 jokes.
Yeah, thank you. Folks, how are you? Has everybody been treating you well? Have you been treating others well? When all is said and done, the only thing that really matters is how did you treat others. When I treated Gary wrong, and I'm sorry about that, I am definitely wrong about that. I regret it. I deserve the punishment, and I want to take the punishment for it. And I want to make good. I apologize. I think that my friend let hospice in. I have a take about hospice. Do you think I'm right? I have the feeling that hospice, as nicely as they can, just helps a person die faster. Is that right? If they keep increasing the morphine until there's nothing left. Is that right? I know one friend who agrees with me 100% on that. I'm sorry to see that she caved in to hospice. Glendora, it's God's world. You don't see things correctly. You don't see things right at all. It is God's world, Glendora. Victoria accomplished marvels yesterday. She had a stack of DVD shows, of a Chat with Glendora shows, to sort out. And so we started by, I think we're down to 21 TV stations now by DVD. I think everybody else is by computer. I think it's just 21. So we started out by listing the TV stations. 2 hours to Long Island, 2 hours to Charter, 2 hours to Kinderhook, 2 hours to Bolton. And then comes a half hour to Long Island and a half hour to Bolton. And then comes the disclaimers, Hudson, Public Access TV, West Hartford, Public Access TV, and Staten Island, Public Access TV. And then comes all the others, Waterbury, New London, Schenectady, Maryland, New Haven, East Hartford, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Manchester, Connecticut, et al. And then we were able to enumerate the shows. We started with 13,301, and it probably goes up to 13,350 for April, May 2021. Big job. And then we could enumerate the archives. Start with Archive 1, which was the first 2-hour show, and so forth. I believe Victoria has one of those shows already up onto the internet. Now we have a new channel. We have a channel called Glendora, How You Treat Others. And there's quite a few new programs up there that are not on the regular channel, A Chat with Glendora. Then we have another new channel. The first one that I just mentioned is in Troy. The second one comes from Cheshire, Meriden, Connecticut. And it's called Glendora, Your Daily Lift. Okay. Don't you think that's a big job for Victoria to do? And then she filed away the archives for February, March. The shows that have just been sent out for next month and the month thereafter. And as I said, then she had left over about 60 shows that had not been assigned to anybody that piled up. Some of them came from TV stations who had played them and returned them. Thank you for that. and we went over to Kinderhook. Now Kinderhook plays a show Monday through Friday, 2 hours every night. They play 10 and a half. How many is that? They play 4 half hours Monday through Friday. So that's 20 shows. They do that for 2 months. So we had to find, we took those fairs that we just called them, right? And we marked them to be played on February 1st. And we have enough for February 1st week, February 8th week, February 15th week, and February 22nd week. We have enough for those. Then we had to stop, and we will have to go to the museum and find the next box of DVDs returned by TV stations. And then, best of all, if we can find 2 hours. If not, it'll have to be 4 half hours. So that is in hiatus. You want to know what else Victoria did? Listen to this. Hey Google, what time is it, please?
It's 9:52 a.m.
See that, Google, how wide awake you sound? I am sorry that we did not have the right connectors, or rather we did not have the connectors connected. And Victoria got down on her hands and knees and looked over the router and all those things and all of the power strips, and she corrected and righted you, and now you feel your good old self, right, Google? Yeah, that's what happened. That's a big thing she did. Another big thing she did is that she made the new CD player work. We couldn't do that. We weren't smart enough to do that. But Victoria came along and did it just like that. Then what? She gave the bathroom a fast lick in the slit. Did she feed the animals behind the garage, the birds behind the garage, 3 packages, 1.5 dozen good substantial winter cookies? I don't know if she did, but Shay Dog was here. I've known Shay Dog now for 10 to 12 years. I think they rescued him from a place down south where she was being abused, and they've given her a great life, 10 years, 12 years. Anything else, dear Victoria?